Now look at the thermometer. It's 23.8 degrees Celsius, which is, what's that in Fahrenheit? 74.8 Fahrenheit. That's what it is at the moment. I've just reset that. We haven't had a frost for a few days. We haven't had really cold temperatures for a few days, so fingers crossed. You're not supposed to double cross both, are you? Is it bad luck, or is that just something from that I was told? Anyway, fingers crossed, we're over the frosts now. We could potentially get one right up until the end of May, but we are middle of May now. Is it the 15th? I think it's Thursday. And I just thought I'd catch up on a midweek video. I'm actually too warm stood here now. We've gone from it's too cold and wet to I'm too warm. And yeah, I just thought I'd have a little catch up and tell you about a few things that have happened that I'll forget to tell you about if I don't do it sooner rather than later. So, notice this and these. It should all be Sakura spinach. So I sowed these with some Lutz beetroot the other day on, when was it? The 1st of May. Oh my goodness, I really am too warm. I'm gonna have to take this off. And stacked them all. In fact, I think I might have done a video on it. Stacked them all, everything was going fine until I went to move them and forgot that I'd put them on one of those flimsy trays. These ones here are the hard trays that you can pick up really, and they're just, you know, the Tracy proof. But I'd stacked them on one of these flimsy trays, so when I lifted it up, the seeds that I'd just sown toppled off. If it's happened to you, you know exactly how I feel. I couldn't believe it. So all of the soil came out, all of the compost came out, and the seeds were just a free-for-all. So I knew that I had Lutz beetroot and I knew that I had Sakura spinach in the two that were the worst. And I just picked them up and threw them back in, which is why it appears that we have got beetroot growing in the spinach one. I've got more spinach coming through here. It needs good water, actually. I'll do that now. And hopefully those two were the only two. If I remember rightly, they were the only two that were really affected. I'm just going to get some water. And thankfully the seeds come up. You can see the difference between them. So they are very different. So it's easy to tell when they start growing, and I'll be able to pinch them out, prick them out into the relevant pots and update the labels. Sorry, that's a little bit of a close shot, isn't it? Anyway, it's an absolutely beautiful night, so I thought we could just catch up. I'll just water these sweet corn that I've got in as well whilst I've got the water. And I wanted to talk about, we went to my parents' house for Easter Sunday, which was, no, wasn't Easter Sunday? The coronation. I was thinking Easter's such a long time ago. It wasn't that, for the coronation. And my dad has got a vegetable plot in his, or veg patch, whatever you want to call it, at the bottom of his garden. And he said, do you want to have a little look? So of course we do. So we went down and we had a look around, and I'm going to add that video in just now and take you around. I'll do a little voiceover because Stephen and my dad were busy chatting on about something to do with the greenhouse or something to do with the glass panes or other. And I was just looking all of the different things that he's growing there, and it was absolutely lovely to see. And I just thought, I know you guys will really appreciate seeing that, because if you're anything like me, you love having a look around other people's gardens and plots, all different shapes and sizes. My dad has always enjoyed growing. His dad did as well, and I think that might be where I get the bug from. So I'm going to add that in now and do a little voiceover to show you everything that was going on there.
Got trimmed some off the back the other day, but to be honest, it does, yeah, that's... You only want to keep maybe 5 or 6 bunches, don't you? And it's already table 20.
Dad and Stephen were just talking about a grapevine that we used to have, because my dad's is looking great. You'll see that in a moment. That's his apple tree that is coming on really nicely, and he's got all kinds of different brassicas and peas and sweet peas, onions, leeks, potatoes, all kinds of good things in here. And he's just pointing out his carrots that he sowed, because he wasn't too sure if they'd be coming up, but they are, and he's just pointing them out there. It's the first time he's seen them coming up, so he's really pleased about that. And you've just got a glimpse of the peas at the back there. There's eating peas and sweet peas, both varieties. And then he was asking Stephen, do you know what these are in here? And unfortunately Stephen couldn't remember, so my dad's just pointing out the parsnips. There's the grapevine. Doesn't that look magnificent? And he's also got some tomatoes going on in buckets. He just does these for fun and their own consumption. I think growing them in buckets is a great idea. And look at this cute little gate that they've got. Enjoyed that. I know I really enjoy seeing everybody else's plots, but I really wanted to show you that one because it's obviously my dad's and I'm very proud of what he's done. Now look, I'm showing you here what we've got growing out of the seeds that I sowed on the 29th of April. So right in the corner there's the spaghetti squash. There's 3 come up out of the 6 in there, and there's only 1 come up on this one. Now the other problem I've got, oh, that looks like it just needs a little water as well. Let's go over with that. These haven't come up at all, and I don't know if the seed's viable. So whatever comes up is what we'll take. We've got here the blue Hubbard. I've got 3 coming up of those. Of the Anulka. Oh look, something's had these. I don't believe it. That's come up and it's been chewed. Bloomin' heck. So the Anulka, these are the little cucumbery gherkins. I'll keep an eye on that. We've got golden courgette. I'm just having a little dig around because I'm wondering if that's come up and something's had them. Anyway, 3 courgettes there, 1 Black Beauty courgette with another one poking its way up, which you can just see. I'll leave that alone. None of the delicate, oh look, one's literally come up, and I looked this morning, that wasn't making its way up. So they're on the way. None of these Crown Prince, the Unknown, the Uchi have come up. If I remember rightly, the Waltham butternut squash, I don't think I got these last year and I wasn't very good at keeping notes. So if these don't come up, they're going the distance. These Uchi haven't come up either, so it may just be that I'm being a little bit too impatient. But I'll keep you posted. Oh, these are the baked potatoes, which these seeds are this year's seeds. I bought them in the shop this year, obviously. So they're coming up, so I'm pleased with those. And then I've got a load of bold tardy beetroot at the back there. These are the seeds that, no, these are the Lutz beetroot that I've just shown you, and these are supposed to be spinach, but as we know, they're a mix with the Lutz. And then I've got some Norfolk green turnips there that are kind of half decided whether they're coming up. And around here, this is sweet corn. You're supposed to keep this in a warmer temperature than it is, so it's a kind of a bit of a hit and miss as to whether or not it'll come up. I'm not putting the propagator back on. And I've got some tundra cabbage and I think it's Bocol broccoli, if I remember rightly. Calabrese early, different types of kales and broccolis are in here as well that seem to be coming up and doing quite well. I've got parsley here, that takes forever, and when you've just about given up on it, that's when that'll come up. And these are the Piacenza, I think they're cabbages if I remember rightly. I was doing all brassicas again for the winter, so that's what I've got going on just here just now. And we do have more seeds to get in, which I'll show you as and when we get those in too. You'll see I've actually got a bit of a glow on. I feel like the temperature's going up while we're stood here. It's beautiful. Stephen and Grace have just gone on a mission because apparently there is some wood next door for us. Our neighbour, bless him, is fantastic. When he goes out and about doing his job, if he sees anything that he thinks is useful, he will give us a ring, or he'll just get it sometimes. And sometimes it's not something that we might want, but we'll still take it anyway because he's gone to the effort of getting it for us. So Stephen and Grace have just been and picked up some wood. I can hear noise, so they're back. I'm not too sure what type of wood it is, whether it's like pallet wood or whether it's good wood. He's over by the workshop though, so I'm guessing it's something that's good if it's gone in the workshop. They have both just helped me bring the horses in. So the horses have been out in the field for 24 hours. It's the first time that the horses have been out for such a long period this year. We're working our way up to them going out full time, and then once they're out full time, they'll stay out until the winter. But let's go and have a check on them. I'll put the video on in just a moment of us bringing them in. I just like to see them. They're so nice, and she's in such a docile mood. Because you're tired now, aren't you, my dear? For some reason, it takes it out of her so much being in the field. I think it's because she's older. Don't worry. Have you got hair in your mouth? We won't tell anybody, my dear. So she looks like she's had a good night out. Look at the state of her. Her mane is filthy and wet. She's had a good roll. You can see all of her hair's coming out. So the winter coat is coming off now, and they're going into the summer coat. So that's why you can see she's got this beautiful this bit here is more hairy and it's got the winter coat, and this bit here is a lot smoother and softer where she's got her summer coat basically. And eventually all of her face and all down her body will all turn this lighter colour where the hair's come out, and she's replaced it with a summer coat. Look at that face. Look at that. This is one tired lip. I'm sorry. And the pony, he won't be as tired. He's younger, fitter, and... Hello, my sweetie. Hello, my darling. Put your eyes back in. I can hear Stephen and Grace coming. You guys have seen before though, we've got this carpet down here. So our older horse is older. She was born in 1997 and she gets a little bit unsure when she's walking. Here's Grace coming in now. She gets a little bit unsure when she's walking, and because the floor in the barn is it's a smooth concrete, so she can slip on that quite easily, and it stresses her out. And she's fell once or twice, so we've put the carpet down, which I've mentioned before, just to give her a bit more grip underfoot, and it gives her a bit more confidence coming in. To be quite honest, when she's coming in tonight, as you'll see on the video, which I'll put on now, she was so tired, she was so steady coming in that she was. She's sighing at me, that there was probably no slip in her. So anyway, all good. The horses are back in. We have had another bit of a drama on the small holding tonight. I'll show you that first, actually. Just reminded myself, they're not dead sheep. So we actually had the sheep sheared, was it last night? Last night the guy came over. We can only get a shearer in when they're available, basically, because we've only got a few every year to do. Where you go to a big farm and they've got kind of hundreds to do, those guys take priority. So that wool is on the floor just because we haven't got to it yet. Now in here we have the problem child. He's laid down there. You may notice his white feathers aren't quite so white anymore, because in here we have problem child number 2. I won't show you in too much detail just in case it upsets anybody. But essentially the cockerels got out today. Well, one's always out and we just take the risk, and he's out every day, and the others are locked away. But somehow the other cockerel got out, and they've been fighting for goodness knows how long. Well, we think only a couple of hours when we've narrowed it down. But we've had to separate them. They too were so worn out after having fought for however long. So I don't know if they've achieved anything by doing it, but they have now been separated and are just cooling off basically in the stables. Those stables are for the lambs, so we do need to move them back out into where they're supposed to be. Stephen has repaired where the cockerel got out, because there was actually a hole in the mesh. So he's repaired that, so he can go back in now. We just wanted to make sure that they were both okay, which they are. They've just been a bit stupid, basically. So I think we're going to get them. Are you going to put them both back out? Grace is going to do that, because we need to make sure the stable's empty for the lambs coming in on the night. The lambs do still come in every night at the moment. We can probably start leaving them out, but essentially we were bringing them in on a night, one for the weather, but also just in case there was any predators and things like that. So we'll maybe have them in for a few more nights, and if this weather keeps being nice, they can just go out with everybody else. This has just reminded me, actually, this cockerel in here, he comes in on a night. When I say he's out all the time, he's out during the day. So Grace puts them out on a morning and brings them in on a night. But this guy in here, who she's going to try and catch now, I bet you can't catch him now you're on. Oh no, she's got him. He goes at the back of the barn with his girls. So we'll get him put back and make sure he's okay. But this one here is just going to stay in his stable overnight to recover and to think about what he's done. And then hopefully tomorrow morning he'll be fine to go back out. It always looks worse than it is with the cockerels. I remember the first time that we had a cockerel fight, when 2 cockerels were fighting each. Oh dear. Yeah, the first time we had 2 cockerels fighting, oh my goodness, we thought the world was ending. It was horrific, but thankfully it does just look worse than it is, because the blood gets amongst the feathers. He'll soon look happy again. There you go, girls. You can go and sulk in the coop. Send him in for the night. Tell him off. Yeah, straight to action. He needs a good wash, that's what he needs. Oh, there's an egg, Grace.
She didn't even move a chin.
I've put the old waistcoat back on. That's the horse is done. Horses are in, all cleaned out, because typically as soon as they come in they go to the toilet. Pigs have been fed, everyone's been fed and locked up for the night. So I think we are just about done out here with the animal duties. So I hope you enjoyed seeing those couple of clips there. I'm going to have a little look around just before I finish up as well, because it's the last little bit of sun and we're losing the heat and we're losing the light. But it's been so nice to be able to spend some time out here with you this evening. I hope you've enjoyed the little look around my dad's garden, seeing a little bit of what we do on an evening. And there is one more thing that I was going to tell you, but I'm going to do that on another video. Nothing important, just a little catch up. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please, if you have, give it a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, then if you've enjoyed this video, I think you should give it a try. Talk to you later.